Call to order, Violet Township Board of Trustee meeting, September 1st, 2021, 7:30 PM. Mrs. Niekamp, call the roll.
Mr. Monholland,
Here.
Mr. Dunlap,
Present.
Mrs. Wild.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Stand with me if you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence for those that protect us at both home and abroad. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I have been presented with regular trustee meeting minutes from August 18th, 2021. Pleasure of the board.
Move to accept as submitted by the fiscal office without public reading.
Second.
Ms. Niekamp, call the roll.
Mr. Dunlap,
Yes.
Mrs. Wild,
Yes.
Mr. Monholland.
Yes,
Motion passes.
I see no county authorities with us. At this time, I would like to move up our hearing end. At this point, Chief.
Good evening and thank you, and I appreciate you moving this forward. Tonight I have a resolution 01 to appoint a full-time firefighter. Unfortunately, we have a firefighter that is going to retire, potentially on a disability retirement, and the need has arisen to replace him to maintain our staffing levels. We have firefighter Kai Betzel here, who's one of our part-time firefighters. Kai's been with us for probably a little over 2 years now. He's coming off the list that just recently expired, but tested very well on that list, and we're very happy to present him as a full-time appointment to the department tonight.
Do you need that motion? Move to adopt
Second.
resolution 01.
Second.
Mrs. Niekamp, call the roll.
Mr. Dunlap,
Yes.
Mrs. Wild,
Yes.
Mr. Monholland.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kai Betzel,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the laws and resolutions of Violet Township,
the laws and resolutions of Violet Township,
the Code of Ethics and Rules and Regulations
Code of Ethics and Rules and Regulations
of the Violet Township Fire Department,
of the Violet Township Fire Department,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
of the position of firefighter, paramedic,
of the position of firefighter paramedic,
Violet Township Fire Department, Fairfield County, Ohio,
Violet Township Fire Department, Fairfield County, Ohio,
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Turn sideways so everybody can see. There you go.
Now reach the portion of our meeting for public comment. If you wish to address the trustees, you can step forward, state your name, address, and group affiliation. Will be limited to 3 minutes. Do you have anyone that would like to make public comment?
Hello, I'm Larry Taylor. I'm with Volunteer Energy. Address is 790 Windmiller Drive here in Pickerington. Early this morning, I was contacted by Mr. Dravina and informed that a trustee had asked him to give me a call and let me know that they are going to remove the gas aggregation program from the balance. And my first question would be I wasn't exactly sure what the balance meant. So if I could have some clarification on that, then I might have a few more questions.
I thought I stated we were going to remove it from the election board, so it's not on the ballot.
You did say that. Thank you. I just wanted clarification of exactly what balance meant. Is it okay to ask a couple questions about that?
I suppose.
I was just curious as to why, after there was a resolution to put it on the ballot, as to why we've decided to take it off the ballot.
Can we hear that? I think, I think there's some concern that whether we done everything correctly, whether we research the company enough. We just want to make sure what we're doing is providing the residents a good product.
Okay. The only thing that I would add to that is that the process that we're going through right now to get it on, we've gotten it on the ballot and to give the community an opportunity to vote on it. If the community voted and said they are in support of the gas aggregation program, the township at that point would not be obligated to do it with Volunteer Energy. So it could be left on the ballot, it could be voted on, and if it's accepted by the community, at that point in time, the township doesn't necessarily have to take any further steps. They have just become a gas aggregator.
If I may, point of clarification on
Yes.
my part.
Yes.
My understanding was that we were going to do 2 public hearings so the public would be able to give input, that you would make a presentation. And frankly, we're out of time to
Well-
do that and have this appear on the ballot.
Well,
That was my understanding.
I did speak to Larry about that today, and the public meetings was to inform the public what the gas aggregation is, what's it all about. But you normally wouldn't do that until it got closer to the election, so people are informed on what they're voting on.
Well,
Is that correct, Larry?
Yes, that's correct. And
when we did this for our single trash hauler, we did that well out ahead of that. And I can tell you that we had our meetings when we did not have this facility at the time. We had our meetings at the high school in the Performing Arts Center so that we could accommodate the number of people that wanted to be educated regarding this. And they were also given and afforded the opportunity to ask questions as well. So when I spoke with Mr. Jabina this morning, after hearing there was an issue with it being on, then I would concur that we are out of time for it to be on this time and to do our due diligence in regards to the meetings. I'm not sure exactly who bears the responsibility of scheduling those meetings. I would think that that would be agreed upon by yourself as well as the trustees, because we would certainly be present for that to listen to the comment and also to see the presentation and answer any questions that needed to be answered. So I think that it would be best practices for us to wait until the next election, that you would set a timetable or timeline with Mr. Jabina for the public hearings. It's not a reflection of, as far as I'm concerned, it's not a reflection upon your company. It's a situation where the Board of Elections simply wants to know exactly what is going to be on the ballot as early as the end of this week, is my understanding. And we've not had the opportunity to do those public hearings at this point. So, what we've done in the past is make sure that everyone had an opportunity to ask those questions and to see a lengthy presentation or hear lengthy comment about that. And I think it would just be in the best interest of everyone involved. And it's already a bit confusing anyhow. For us to eliminate that confusion best as possible and maybe shoot for the next election.
Mr. Chairman, there's one other issue that we want to think about. When we did the trash hauler, we didn't take one person who came to us and put it on the ballot. We asked requests for proposals, same as we do for paving. So we need to advertise this because there's other companies that do the same service that you do, and we did not give them that opportunity to make a presentation to us, and that might create a legal issue. So we can eliminate all those issues and start fresh and follow the things that we're supposed to and have it for May.
I think that sounds great. One quick question. You mentioned the high school. Do you think it would be good opportunity for me to just go ahead and contact the high school and see, to start that conversation, to get that scheduled?
As I mentioned previously, we did not have this facility at that particular time. I'm not sure they can seat very many more people in that PAC than what we can seat here.
And that'll have to happen after we advertise for requests for proposals to see how many people we're going to have making presentations.
And if we feel that we need to contact the high school, we certainly can.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right, thank you. That's all
All
the
right.
questions I have.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
Do I have anyone else that would like to make public comment?
Good evening, William Miller, 12549 Tollgate, Violet Residence for Responsible Development. I really don't want to be standing here tonight. Unfortunately, the circumstances are such that I'm compelled to speak out for the benefit of the township and to take up the zoning cause that has been left basically to rot and fester. My biggest concern at this point is why? Why has this issue been so difficult to address, and why has there been so much resistance by township leadership? So let me tell you some of the things that I've discovered in the last several months. The Rockford PD rezoning was denied in January, though the reasons remain unclear. Rockford has filed a lawsuit, and that lawsuit clearly poses a threat to all R2 zoning in the township. Rockford has subpoenaed one of our members. In looking through the subpoena request, we're a third party, we're not even named in the claim. It's clear that Rockford believes there's something inappropriate going on with the township trustees. Violet Residents for Responsible Development approached the township regarding our zoning concerns in June. We were blown off and told to go away. Representatives of Violet Township for Responsible Development met with members of the Zoning Commission, where we find out that there's been an ongoing effort to overhaul the zoning code for the township that's dragged on for years, and that the zoning change recommendations they've made have gone unheeded, disregarded, or flat out denied by the trustees. The zoning commission themselves admitted that they don't even understand the zoning code and how it works or what their role is supposed to be. They actually said that in a commission meeting. The Ohio Revised Code clearly states the term limits and the turnover rules for a township zoning commission, and yet that requirement has been disregarded in its entirety, and we have multiple commissioners who literally sat on that commission for decades. Violet Residents for Responsible Development captured 1,000 signatures on a petition to repeal the zoning code. We achieved that in a period of less than 3 weeks. So clearly there's a lot of anger and discontent in the community regarding the zoning code. The Violet Residents for Responsible Development requested to meet with the trustees so we could chart a path forward that was in the best interest of the township. I would say that pretty much failed. Terry, you wouldn't meet with us at all. It seems like a odd message to send to 1,000 voters that you just don't care and don't plan to do the job they sent you here to do. And Darren, we met with you, but it appears you're not going to act without Terry's permission. And that's at least until he's voted out in January, right? And then Trustee Wild met with us. And by the way, Trustee Wild actually has a master's degree in urban planning and development, and she actually has experience in correcting zoning issues. And that not only makes her the smartest person on that stage when it comes to zoning issues, but she actually came with ideas that would improve not only what we were seeking to do, but would benefit this entire community after 30 years of not really paying attention to what's going on. And Darren, I found out you were supposed to represent Violet Township at the Fairfield County Land Use Plan, but you didn't bother to attend. And as a result, our township receives no money from that parks fund that we all pay taxes into, and that it goes to other communities, but not to the residents who want those funds to improve and protect our township. And then just a couple weeks ago, Sabatino's in here raising hell over zoning changes that he wanted that the zoning commission failed to deliver. You can imagine my shock and horror when, after being told dozens of times, literally, that zoning changes take months, if not years, that in 2 weeks, the two of you single-handedly overrode the zoning commission's recommendation and gave Sabatino exactly what he wanted after some backroom compromise? It seems very odd. And so we have all these data points, and I'm trying to find a narrative that connects these data points. How do these events over the last 2.5 years intersect, and what possibly could be the motive that exactly lines up with every one of these? Well, gentlemen, one is corruption. Plain old-fashioned greed. I mean, someone's getting paid. Why else would you put so much effort in shutting down simple, common sense changes, undermine your fellow trustee who clearly knows what she's doing, and purposely not take advantage of funds that would work to better this township? I mean, what was the Sabatino compromise? Exactly how much does it cost to get a zoning code change? I think Rockford has the same question. The other option is unfortunately lazy incompetence and petty political bitterness. Why else would you work so hard to keep a job you clearly don't plan to do? And then why, after not doing the job you signed up to do, would you work so hard to undermine your fellow female trustee? Surely it's not just because she's a woman. Either way, your refusal to address the zoning code changes sought by Violet residents for responsible development and demanded by 1,000 voters and residents has nothing to do with common sense or what's good for our township. It's only about what's good for you personally. And whether what's good for you is criminal corruption or simple malfeasance and misfeasance, rest assured, I fully intend to make sure the voters know this for a fact, because it's simply not acceptable. And to the township employees, I offer my sincere apologies for the toxic work environment that you're currently working in. And rest assured, we're doing our best to fix that. And we appreciate you reaching out. Thank you.
Have anyone else who would like to address the trustees? Program areas, Mike Little, Fire Chief.
Good evening again, and thank you. I have no other resolutions for you. I do have a number of updates, so we'll go through them here. I've been working with Chief Sharps over Trustees Township to evaluate our current EMS billing provider. We have not really evaluated this. We've had it for probably 15 years now. We just felt it was an opportunity to take the opportunity to evaluate what we're doing, how we're doing it, the service we're getting, all the stuff involved with this. We had a meeting with our supervisor from Change Health yesterday. Got a lot of data from her, so we're going to continue to evaluate that. I don't foresee a change or requesting a change, but Chief Sharps and I will be looking at that and having some more discussion about it before we come to a final decision about that. Tomorrow, just so you're aware, we have a pre-renewal insurance meeting with McGohan Brabender, our insurance broker, so we'll start that process of the renewal for 2022. Just an FYI, the annual golf outing takes place this Friday, and obviously the parade on Monday. Unfortunately, we did cancel the Labor Day breakfast, the annual Labor Day breakfast at the fire station. Again, with the issues that COVID is presenting here recently, we just didn't feel it was a good way to bring people together and risk anything. And plus the fact that we have some staffing issues at the fire department. I don't need anybody else getting COVID. So we had to cancel that. Along with that, we also are canceling our open house. Chief Paxton and I spoke about this at length. We had really anticipated having the open house in October. But again, this COVID thing, I can't see bringing the public into the building, having our guys exposed, and then potentially having, a small outbreak within a department. We just can't afford to have that staffing wise. So I'm hoping we'll be back in 22. I will be out of the office next Wednesday, the 8th, just FYI for you. I got a flyer here that I was asked about by one of the guys at the fire station. I know nothing. I don't know what this is about, but this Vet Ohio Expo that's being held here. Can you tell me what that's about? And the other question I would have is, were we supposed to participate in this as the fire department? That was probably the bigger question.
That was an event our event coordinator set up, and I don't know much about it either, Mike.
So follow up with Barbie then?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I will do that. Had a really good discussion with JD Postage. Lieutenant Postage is our community medic on a number of things, but probably the biggest issue is just talking to him about how busy he's becoming, whether or not one person is able to do this job with consistency and to do it justice. He had 134 visits in August. He has 977 visits through the end of August of this year. He's on track to have well over 1,000 visits just by himself. So I track that number. I look at his overtime numbers, and that fluctuates from, pay period to pay period, but I can always tell when there's a really busy 2-week period because his overtime hours tend to creep up a little bit. Through that discussion and in discussing with Chief Paxton later this afternoon, it's very probable that we will have to put a second person in a community medic position in 2022, just because of the sheer volume that we're seeing. This program, like we talked, started 4 to 5 years ago, and quite honestly, it was really a pipe dream at that point. With the help of JD, Dr. Zeeb, and the MEC protocol, it has just taken off. And I would tell you that our community medic program is far more aggressive and far more progressive than any other fire departments locally right now. I think that JD has created a system that he's very involved, not just with the patient visits, the client visits, but he has created a resource list that is probably second to none to anybody in the Central Ohio area. He's very deeply involved with everything from Meals on Wheels for his clients to prescription refills to making sure they have rent. He's into a slew of things, and plus the meetings that he has, it just takes a lot of time. And I think that we're going to see that we're going to need that second person. So I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on that at some point next year, we may be coming to you to create that position. And it would also have to be negotiated with the union, but I don't see an issue with that at all. Lastly, what I have is Vanessa and I had been talking over the last couple weeks. So 2 years ago, CareWorks, who's our MCO, CareWorks used to have an FMLA arm that administered our FMLA for the township. It was discontinued 2 years ago, and quite frankly, it fell through the cracks. So that's on us, and that happened. We need to have an FMLA administrator. We do not have an HR department, so we don't have anybody here that has the expertise to be able to manage that program. It's a federal program. There's a lot of red tape through it. But unfortunately, it's also a program that's mandated anytime somebody has extended time off or anytime somebody has something that fits into what they can apply to for FMLA purposes. I reached out to a company out in Hilliard. The name of the company is called Your Leave. Said they're located in Hilliard. A couple of townships are using them. Norwich Township, Mifflin Township are using them. Basically, the company provides all the resources that are needed to administer the FMLA. They have a website and a web portal for employees to utilize. It obviously does come at a cost. That cost is, there's an initial setup of $650, and then there is a $2.05 per employee per month fee, along with a $250 per year license renewal. So when you add all this up for the first year, you're probably looking at a little over $2,500. That $650 obviously comes off, but we would be looking at $2,000 to $2,200 a year to administer the program. Obviously, the more employees you have, the more cost there is involved. But I wanted to bring this to your attention and bring it up for discussion tonight to see if you had any thoughts on this. Vanessa and I did reach out to Paychex and spoke to them about this. From my perspective, I won't speak for Vanessa. From my perspective, I don't know that Paychex has the ability to do what we want them to do for two reasons, especially for the fire department. One, the information we got was very minimal, but two, it's tied to the time and attendance feature of the Paychex system. The fire department does not use the time and attendance feature because the way that's set up, it's based on 40-hour workers. So it doesn't lend itself to being utilized for a 24-hour process where our guys are on a day and off 2 days. So no matter what, the fire department would have to most likely have a separate company managing our leave. And obviously, I don't think we want to do that. I think we want to have, one-stop shop for the whole township would be where my thought is. I mean, Vanessa can provide her opinion as well.
Yeah, we did check into Paychex. The only capabilities that we have with Paychex is on the time and attendance side. So that is just the small administrative staff. And it will only record hours that they are taking towards that total 480 hours rolling calendar year. But it will not do the administrative part as far as getting the right paperwork filled out or getting the right, assuring that the right information's been received from physicians or anything like that. If we did implement time and attendance on the fire department, it would be much more expensive than the cost of this program.
Very good. Thank you.
Is there any other company that does that?
We can look into it and find out. I mean, I can't remember how I came across this company, to be quite honest. I think I just put in a Google search for FML leave administration and this came up. It's a local company. It's in Hilliard. There's other townships using it. I mean, I can reach out to the other couple townships and see what their experience has been with it. Those townships, I'm pretty sure were using CareWorks as well as us, and when they moved over to this.
I'll take a look, see if we can get three. We've got two.
We actually got two. We only need one more because we got
one more.
Paychex.
That's what I'm saying. We
Yeah.
need to get to the three.
Okay.
I just want to let you know, we do have several staff members that I'm aware of that will be needing FMLA in the upcoming weeks.
We'll work as fast as we can.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all I have for you tonight.
Additional questions for the fire chief, Mrs. Wild,
I have none. Thank you.
Mr. Dunlap?
I have none. Thank you, Chief, for your report.
I have no questions, chief. Thank you for your report.
Thank
Edgerina, Township Administrator.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Last meeting, I did talk about the salt barn a little bit. I did go ahead and put that project out to bid. There will be a pre-bid meeting September the 14th on site at 2, if anyone wants to attend. And also the bid opening is scheduled for September the 21st at 2 here at the offices. A few months ago, we hired a company to do the road survey or analysis of the shape of our roads. Will and I are going to have a meeting with them tomorrow to go over the survey, go over the results, etc. I did send that to everyone, so if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Also, last month I talked about the township stimulus program that ODOT's administering, where we can get $250,000. I did reach out to ODOT and we do have a tentative meeting scheduled 1st of October. We have until late October to submit. A couple of projects I was thinking about, if we wanted to do one, is a sidewalk on Busey Road from Canal Winchester Apartments over into Busey Park. That could be an eligible project, or we could pick out a road to pave and put more funds with it. So when the rep shows up, we're going to go look at a couple things. The GPS systems we approved a few months ago, they are scheduled to be installed first week of October. Park agreement, we've talked about Fairfield County Parks. We did get a draft agreement. I did submit that to everyone. The zoning board member, we did talk about that at the last meeting. We have a vacancy on the zoning board. We did put that on the web. We're advertising until September the 30th for applications. Clout, we will be hosting a Clout meeting September the 8th here for about 8 members of Clout. Custodial position we talked about a month or so ago. I have filled that position. Catherine Curtin has accepted that position and she'll start Tuesday. And I put on there also about a conflict we were going to have on October the 6th meeting here. That has changed. There will not be a conflict on October the 6th, so we can meet here. And just a reminder, I'll be on vacation September the 13th. I do have one resolution. If you're ready. Resolution 2021-090104, a resolution to repeal Resolution 2021-051-806 regarding natural gas aggregation program and request that Fairfield County Board of Elections remove the question from the ballot.
Pleasure of the board on 04.
Move to adopt.
I will second that. Any questions?
I do have some questions since this was just put on today. I was unaware that there were concerns over this. I think we pretty well vetted this beforehand, so I don't like to go and flip-flop things. So I just wanted to reiterate why I made the decision I did before, and I'm going to stick with it. I worked at the city of Pickerington before I came here, and we actually worked with you guys over at the city of Pickerington. It's a local business with an owner who lives in the community, and because of that, the city of Pickerington and now Violet Township is also going to be offered the same thing. They get basically a give back to the community where this company came from. So every year at the city of Pickerington, we would get a check from this company, which it was a great thing. So not only is it a win for the people who want to participate in the aggregation program, because if it's voted in, you get to participate in the program. That's great. If you don't want to participate, you voted against it, you hate the idea, you can opt out. So it's a win for you because you're not actually stuck with something that you don't want to participate in. But then it's a win for the community as a whole, because then the community gets to take that check from the company where they give back to the community that they came from. So I think it's a great organization. The city of Pickerington does it. It worked very well over there. So I guess I'm very concerned that we're going back after doing a whole lot of research at the beginning and then changing our minds here. What I understood with the meetings, and maybe you did too, so maybe we're on the same page, confused here, is that the meetings were to help people understand what gas aggregation was. So that they could come and they could decide, do I want to vote for this or do I not want to vote for this? And that would be their time to be able to really understand what the program was. So that's how I understood it. And I think maybe that's where the confusion was between all of us. Since we already voted to put it on, I didn't think that there was a need to have a discussion on if we put it on. So I think I'm a little confused as well, but maybe there was other things I missed aside from those points that somebody can enlighten me. Like I said, this was put on today, and I do like to prepare, but this is something I'm not prepared on because it was put on and I worked all day, and so I'm coming straight from all that. So my apologies on not being prepared on that since it was put on today.
Well, I will add to that I received a call from Mr. Drabina this morning, reflecting the concerns that he had to share with me. And I felt, based on the process in the past, that it would be best to eliminate a great deal of confusion to go ahead and wait until we had done the public hearings. Mr. Taylor is very aware that I'm very open and receptive to this type of opportunity for the community, but I think the community would be best served if given the opportunity to engage in public hearings and ask questions and generate the necessary amount of information, whether that be in the newspaper, on social media, or by attending the meetings. I think that's best practices, and that's why I have chosen to urge you to wait and put it on next time. And if I'm correct, Mr. Taylor, you're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine with that. I feel that I don't know how exactly that it works, but I feel that I don't know why there wouldn't be enough time for us to do social media, newspaper, and have, I would have liked to have had 3 meetings, sometime late September, early October. If you feel there's not enough time to do that, then yeah, absolutely, I'm fine with it.
Okay, and once again, I would urge you to set with Mr. Drabina and come up with an appropriate timeline that all the trustees can be comfortable with. And thank you for that.
And as I said during the public comment section, we did not ask for requests for proposals from competitors. And when there's more than one person or one company offering that service, we need to give them that opportunity to present theirs too, because it could be a better deal. And then after that, we can go through all the process, and we've eliminated that legal challenge.
Can I comment on that, please?
Yes, please. I was just going to ask about that.
Do I need to approach the?
It's better if you come down here so the public can hear it.
Okay. Again, if it's put on the ballot and the citizens vote for it, at that point in time, the township is an aggregator. So at that point in time, you could request for RFPs. My understanding is you don't have to request the RFPs prior to it. If it gets on the ballot and it gets voted down, there would be no need to ask for an RFP. So it could be put on the ballot and accepted by the residents. And then at that point, the township could do their due diligence and put out requests for proposal.
So what you're saying is that, or I guess I should ask this in a question. If we put it on the ballot, we are not bound to First Energy.
We're a volunteer energy.
Or I'm sorry.
That's
Yes,
fine.
volunteer
And
energy.
no, you would
Yes.
not be.
Okay.
What's the ballot
Absolutely not.
language? Do we know what the ballot language is? And I think it says volunteer and jury on.
I do not have the ballot information now.
You know, I think we can start the process over. You'll have an equal chance, the same as everybody else. And I think out of fairness to the citizens and to other providers, that we request for proposals, get everybody in, have the public meetings, let everybody talk, get the questions answered. And at that point in time, it might be such that the public does not want us to put it on, and we can go from there. But let's start over and make sure we don't have any issues.
Did you want to read the ballot language?
No, I just wanted to remind you, Mr. Monholland, member, you did inquire to me about, was there a cost to the taxpayers to put the item on the ballot? And there is, and I know that was one of the things that you had expressed to me, was if we weren't for sure that there was actual interest from the residents, may have incurred a cost to the taxpayers to put the item on the ballot in the first place. But just one thing I just wanted to remind you, you had not mentioned yet.
Volunteer agreed to pay for those expenses. to get that on the ballot?
I would think we probably need to work with legal counsel to get an agreement for that. How a ballot piece, when it's placed on the levy, it will actually, the amount will actually be taken straight out of our income from Fairfield County. So you would have to reimburse us. So that would be something Ed probably could work with legal counsel on.
I did speak with the Fairfield Board of Elections today, and they said that there would be no fees given to the township if it was removed. So if it's removed this evening, then there would be no fees
Yeah,
since
I
there
will-
was nobody voting.
I was only trying to remind Mr. Monholland of the question that he had asked me about,
Okay.
would there be fees associated to it if it were on the ballot and failed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
Mrs. Neecamp, call the roll.
Mr. Dunlap,
Yes.
Mr. Monholland,
Yes.
Mrs. Wild,
No.
motion passes.
That's all I have, sir.
Additional questions for the township administrator, Mrs. Wild?
So I think you did talk to Josh about this, the park agreement
Yeah.
and the ability for us to go ahead and do that tonight. It was supposed to be on here tonight, and then I guess it was removed. I would like to have some discussion on, I know that there was a list of questions that you had. My concern here is we're moving to where we're not going to be able to do this by the end of the year. So if we pass the resolution tonight, in 2 weeks, they can bring us the paths to go ahead and approve per the agreement. And then after that, they would be able to start clearing everything. So everything is the same that we've been talking about all summer. We did talk about the liability issues. They do cover insurance on all their parks. So I would like to put this back on, and you said that we could,
I did talk to legal counsel on it today, and he said if the trustees did decide to pass it, we would need a resolution. So I did have a resolution prepared. That if we do decide to pass it, we can amend the agenda, add the resolution, and vote on it.
okay, because I guess I'm not aware why we're taking it off again. So is there, I guess,
I have questions as to the liability. In the agreement, it doesn't say what the materials of the trails are going to be made out of. Is it going to be mulch trails, going to be gravel trails, is it going to be paved trails? And my question on that is, some of those trails have some kind of liability. I understand that Parks has their own liability, but we haven't checked with Ortomer to see what our liability would be if, without knowing what their trails are going to be made out of. Whether it's going to be a perimeter trail, cross trail, all the way around a trail, or just one little short trail through the middle. Haven't seen anything on that. It's for a period of 10 years. And then what do they want in regards of the gates being open where and when? I haven't seen anything on that because, we do have a liability issue after hours with people around behind the buildings, et cetera. Who's going to make sure that there's nobody here on that if they're in here using the trails? And I'm sure that the parks will want them open on the weekends, and I have no problem with that if we can work those issues out, but we haven't addressed those yet. And I know that we were getting some ARPA money, ARPA money, and there's a significant amount of money in there and those recovery things for the outdoor recreation things. And I think, as I saw a thing from our fiscal officer, said that included some things that we could do, building the trails ourselves without having a third party involved in the whole 9 yards. So I think we ought to explore those things and see what ARPA is going to give us before we make that finalization. And to our next meeting, 2 weeks is not going to be that much to wait to get the answers to those.
I guess I'm just frustrated because we've had a lot of time to prepare for this.
We've been waiting to see the proposal, just saw it,
It's been a,
I just saw it.
so in terms of paths, you both requested that it not be paved, so it's not paved. And they take care of the maintenance, so any of the maintenance stuff is not going to matter. I don't think that we should use ARPA money if we have the ability to use other monies and partner with somebody. We're partnering with Fairfield County Parks and the library and Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and all these other organizations that I think is a really good thing for the community to do these partnerships. So for us, if we took this on ourselves, then we actually have to hire somebody to come in and check these parks and take care of the trash and all the things that the park district does. And, you know, Violet Township, we're a third of this vote for the Fairfield County Parks. We're what passes Fairfield County Parks. And so for some of that money to come back to us, this is a really great thing, a really great partnership for us. So I don't think that we should use other monies to do something that we can do with a really great partnership. I think all the other things they're just minor. And like I said, the paths, we have to pass them. So they have to bring them to us. So they don't do the paths until this is already, the agreement has been done. And then we get to say what we want the paths to look like. But it's a perimeter path. And there's, right now the Boy Scouts are working on the center paths. So, but those will just be cleared. There's nothing on those paths. Except for one area that's a little bit wet. And they'll put, I think, gravel on that. So I think just because this is not something new, I would like to just move this forward. There's a lot of things that we've already discussed, and so I understand all of the concerns you had. I checked them all out with Josh, and I've been in connection with Fairfield County Parks. If you want to have in writing that they will have insurance like they do with all their other parks, they're more than willing to do that. So that would be fine. So I think really the only thing that you have left hanging is the hours, which, like I said, they do have rangers that come through and they check parks. So I still think that this is, I think that this place is something that people should be allowed to be in. I think that they should be allowed to enjoy this space. And so for us to have this closed off anytime after 8 to 4 is just wrong. I think people need to be here and to have the extra space to bring their kids or their dogs or whatever and enjoy. So I think we need to figure out how to get people in here safely after hours. So that it's not just us enjoying it or people who have weddings enjoying it. So I would like to go ahead and move to put this the park resolution on to the agenda tonight.
I will second it. Nice.